Hey there, welcome back friends. Today we will talk about servlet initialization and we are almost there. We will connect with the database. We will create a project in our forthcoming videos, but there are few little things which we will discuss in couple of videos. One of them is servlet initialization. So let's get started. Now, as the name suggests, it is based on servlet initialization. So definitely first of all, we would be creating a servlet. So let's create a package first. And the package would be, for example, org.studyeasy. Let us click on finish, and inside this package let us create a servlet. Now friends, when we create a servlet, we can directly give a name, for example home, and in here we can directly click on finish, or we can again click on next. Now definitely when we configure or when we create a servlet, there are a couple of more things which we can do apart from the default settings. So let us click on next. And in here there are couple of things. First thing is initialization parameter, and then we have the URL mapping. Now we will talk about initialization parameter in couple of minutes, but first of all let us check the URL mapping. Now friends, for example, this is our home servlet. This is the servlet which will serve all the requests. This is the main servlet. Then in that case, what we will do is we will update this URL mapping. We will edit this and we will simply make use of a slash. What this will do is all the requests which this website, which this web application will receive will be handled by this servlet to get started. So we can simply click on OK now. So now we have the servlet mapping. Cool. Alright, let us click on next, and in here again we have couple of things, and we have list of methods which we can add in. One of the method is init method, and this init method can be used for initializing servlet. Now let us click on finish. Now friends, here is our servlet. Now friends, if we check the servlet, there are two things. First thing is this init method which got auto generated by Eclipse. Now this init method is used to initialize element when we load the servlet into our web server. So that's a different thing. Whereas we also have the constructor. Constructor would be called whenever we create a new instance of this class. So that's a different story. Now what happens when we initialize an element and how we can access it is something which we're gonna see. So in here, first of all, let us create an global variable. So in here, let us quickly do that. We will take help of the default scope and we will create a variable, a string variable. We will give the name as message, and we will not initialize this one. We will initialize this particular variable inside the init method. So let us get rid of this auto generated stub, and let me pause this web server for a minute. And in here, we will type in message equals, and we will give a specific message in here, and it could be, for example, message from init method. Alright, now if we would like to print this message, definitely we can do that. In that case, we will simply take help of getWriter method, and we will call in the print method, and we will pass on the variable message, and this particular line of code will print the information on our web page. Alright, so this looks good to me. Let me quickly run this particular web page on our web server. Now also take a note of the URL. The current URL pattern is slash, so definitely we would be able to see this message directly on our base URL. Alright, so here is the output. Perfect. Now friends, this is cool that how we are making use of the init method to initialize a global variable. Cool stuff. Now this particular way of making use of the init method is the legacy way. There is a yet another way, a newer way of doing the same. Let me show you. In here, let's create a yet another servlet. This time we will give the name as demo2. Right, and we will again click on next, and in here we will keep the URL pattern as it is, because we cannot make use of same URL pattern for multiple servlets. So that's something you need to know. Alright, now moving forward, for example, we would like to initialize some parameters. We can also make use of this particular option in here, and if we make use of initialization using this particular option, annotation would be used. Let me show you how it can be done. So in here, first of all, we will give the name as message2. Value would be initialization from annotation, and description would be, let me copy this part, I will paste it in here, and we will add in description as a postfix, and we will click on OK. Alright, let us click on next, and in here we will not check mark this option of init. Alright, let us click on finish, and now we have yet another servlet. Now in the servlet, if we check, we have couple of options inside this annotation web servlet, and one of the option is init params. And if we check the init param, let me format things a little, then definitely we are able to see the parameters as message2, initialization from annotation, and the description as initialization from annotation description, which is cool stuff, right? Now if we wish to access this particular initialization parameter in our doGet method, again there is a way. In here we will type in servlet config would be the name of our object, and then we will call in get servlet config method. And now let us create a string variable. The name of the variable could be, for example, message2, and we will initialize this using config dot get init param, and we will give the name as message2, which is the name which we have given in here. This is the name message2. Alright, now what happens is we would be able to extract the information inside this message2, and in order to display this message, definitely we will type in response dot get writer dot print, and we will try to print message. Here we go. And now finally let us try to execute this program on our web application, and our work is done. Perfect. Now friends, this is how we can make use of the init method, and we can make use of the web init param annotation. So this is cool stuff, and this is definitely useful when we code JSP servlet based application. Alright, so this is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.